Hi friends, let's take a look at Tezos. Tezos versus Bitcoin and Tezos versus the dollar. Don't worry, a person yesterday commented down below, please look at Tezos versus Bitcoin. It's like I do that in every episode. So I will be looking at that. What are we talking about in terms of Tezos versus Bitcoin just first off? And look at this price action we've had versus Bitcoin. That's great to see. Turning around here in terms of the 4 hour time frame, we came down to the 200 simple and found that operating as support. Sorry, just went too many undos. That's great to see. I'm going to just delete this crap here. And we wanted to see the prices not go any further down if they didn't have to than 2,900. You know, actually, we said that we could bear it happening, you know, without sort of dying if it went down to 2,800 or so. But that's the last of the last. And in fact, our sort of 3,000 target that we've spoken about so often over this whole downward period, so often has finally actually 3,000 is where it's come in at and operated as support. So that's good to see happening, and we can maybe think about whether or not if we go up to the 24-hour time frame that it's at this point at the 50% retrace really coming in close enough to 618 and around that 55 EMA on the daily time frame, and the 50 simple the 50% retracement on the Fibonacci tool is where we could potentially be seeing a turnaround. So the first thing we want to see on the 24-hour chart is going back above 3,210, so we can be above that 21 EMA. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. If we do it, that's bullish and that's good to see. And we've got this having operated support over here where we had our previous low, and we've come in, and what's happened actually is we put in a lower low overall on this one, but than here. So you know you've got that, but this is an overall upward trend. So looking at the overall upward trend, you got a high here, a high here, a high here. You got a high here, a high here, a high here. I hope you're learning, by the way, as we do this in every video. High here, a 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 high here, and you can see that that is convergent, or you know, correlates and isn't bearishly divergent. So when you're looking at this as being an upward trend and saying, can we continue to go towards the upside? This is not giving us warning signs to tell us that we can't necessarily, right? It's not. Right. So that's correlated. Okay, great. And something else that's interesting is that if this had have actually turned around at the 50% Fibonacci retracement here, putting in a equal low, if it had have done that, then the oscillators down here below being lower would have meant that that was hidden bullish divergence, which is continuation divergence. Now what's actually happened is the prices have come in and set a lower low in than this low over here, so that you couldn't necessarily say that that is bullishly divergent. But what can you say about it is that the oscillators, just look at this, the oscillators come down here, and during this is an uptrend, they've come down to the oversold, so to speak. It becomes slightly oversold in an uptrend at the neutral line and before turning around, and if we come back above the neutral line, then that's great. We've had the stochastics go all the way back down to the bottom here, and that's great, you know. And in fact, you know, looking at certain lows, you know, certain lows here, like this low over here and this low here, then you can see the stochastics is here and it's all the way down here, and that's that hidden. There's your sort of hidden bullish divergence between these lows, this low here, and there, you know, there's your sort of hidden bearish or hidden bullish divergence that you have, you know, in that sense. So that's all positive. It's all positive. That's great to see. So let's go back up to the 24-hour time frame and remind ourselves what we're looking for. Well, what we said is we've got a high here and a high here, and they're equal highs. We've got this base in here, and then we've got this downward trend afterwards. And what happens during these things is a lot of people get shaken out in this period here, and that's called the handle, and this is called the cup. And if the prices then come back up to here, then people will ask the question, is it going to be a triple top where we see the prices go back down again afterwards, or are we going to bust through this area and have a continuation pattern with a cup with handle? Go look up Google cup with handle yourself, read all about it, and see what you think. I think it could be interesting enough. Now over to the dollar prices, something we spoke about. Could this have turned into a head and shoulders and has got a move off the back of it? Well, here's your neckline. We came down and we didn't break below the neckline. Had we broken down below the neckline, then we could have looked towards these areas, like we have the measuring stick in there showing us about it. But sorry, went back too far. But we didn't do that. So what has happened is where we've turned around here and we've come up. Now, if we break above the right shoulder and go on up, it negates this idea of a head and shoulders. And we're just looking towards our previous high here about whether or not we can get a higher high in and go on up and trend up the way. So we're looking towards $3 really again and asking that question. And $3 being interesting as well because, you know, just kind of just generally speaking, looking over to the left, you know, there's all of the targets. You know, we get all of these things become real possibilities at 320, and the previous highs up here in the 19th of February become real targets again for us, and we can start looking towards them if we get up above $3. So that'd be quite bullish and good to see overall. So the $3 is the first step along the way towards that happening, which would be good to see, of course. And let me see, let me think here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I've got this on that time, but it's not, doesn't fit in here. Yes. So what do we have as well as this upward slope of the on the stochastics, and we're asking the question: can we actually see this operate as support? We were saying that yesterday, and so far it looks like it could be. If I bring it up big and show you sort of how these look like they could be about to cross around. So if they do cross around, then that would be good, and we could go towards, continue towards trending towards the upside. Of course, then here, you know, you've got this sort of idea of this upward trend line too, you know, and where could we see the prices going? Well, we could actually see, as part of this overall thing, the stochastics going up to all-time stochastical highs here on the Coinbase chart on the 24-hour time frame. 93 in of itself is, you know, as we look towards the Bitcoin and Ethereum videos and stuff like that, if you want to see me talking about these things as well, I think today this is Ethereum anyway. You can, if we were to go up here to sort of 95, 96, you know, it can do that absolutely, and that's where it could turn around from, rather than here. So we could see this come up and actually not create any sort of divergence on the go as we're doing that if the prices go up above that $3 area and the stochastics move on up here to that really high area. So we could do that, and then maybe we could look for our higher low thereafter, which could be back to where we are now. Of course, we've got this ascending triangle here on the Tezos, and if we do a wee measured move off the back of that and take it up, it takes us to a wee line there at 320. So maybe we see all of that happening in this sort of last little thrust here before we go in and put another higher low in, which could be anywhere back down to, you know, 270, I suppose. You know, it's just as this overall upward trend, you know, if that were to happen. We can see that there's a 236 here at $3.20 and the 786 here at 330. So we know that in this area there's a high chance of there being resistance and the prices turn around, profit taking happening in there. That's why that exclamation mark can still live there for now. So generally speaking, just to try and say things slowly, ascending triangle formation can break bullishly, supported by the upward sloping line of what was previously a channel or wedge or whatever here on the prices. Should we get a measured move off the back of this, it takes us up to the 236 Fibonacci retracement point at 320, which could potentially be us putting in a higher high than previously before, and we maybe can see these oscillators go up and not be bearishly divergent through that process as part of the overall trend. Of course, we could see the prices break down. Should that happen, then we could look back to how we had a little touch of bearish divergence here, just coming in at the end of the RSI and the stochastics and the MACD between these last two little bits of highs here on the price action, those last two, here and here, and we could say, yeah, that's the natural conclusion from that, but we still wouldn't be putting in a lower low yet until if the prices stay, you know, above $2.15, then we're not putting in a lower low yet either. And if this were some sort of pennant that was going on the go, then we could be looking at a measured move that takes us down to around about that area, and we can ask that question. If we need to cross that bridge, we'll cross it when we come to it. What we're looking for is for whether or not we can see this go up, and if it does go up, it'll be very high on the stochastics, and you could see things come back down to have a quick reset. And if we look over to things like the Bitcoin prices we were just speaking about, we'd want it to see something like this, where it resets the oscillator entirely, giving us all these opportunities for the next, you know, for the next round of all this happening, rather than us to leave us in a precarious position where we could actually be looking at getting lower highs. My phone battery's just died. That's the signal to me that I need to wrap up and say thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry maybe I didn't go into enough detail here, but I have to wrap up there really with the episode. In fact, no, I could keep going for another minute and just let it be dead if I need to say anything. Yeah, somebody said to me, so I'm disappearing from the screen right now if I haven't already, but my voice is still here. We had somebody say to me recently that HitBTC is basically a scam site and all the rest of it, and you know, we have our cookie moon up here and our rocket ship that could be going towards the cookie moon, and all that. And I was chatting about it, and I mean, you know, like up here, like that's could be considered an all-time high. It could be, you know, regardless of whether or not it's a scam exchange or not. It just was. The fact is, it wasn't traded on the other exchanges that we look at back then anyway, and all that too. But you know, people were saying you couldn't get the ICO, whatever. They never even had any Tezos, blah blah blah. But you know, that doesn't really concern us. That's just a bit of fun. That's just a bit of fun. But it is significant. This area of $3.20 is significant, as we know from what we looked at there 2 minutes ago, and that's where the 236 is on that particular Fibonacci, or 310 or so. And what's happened in the prices on HitBTC, where it's actually been quite good for looking at the price action over the last ages, is we've come down to the bottom of this channel and we've been supported by our horizontal line at 272 as well. We want to see the prices go back up of that 786. That is a common turnaround point. We don't want to see this turn into a head and shoulders, which it very much could do currently as we're looking at it, you know. And if it does break down below the neckline around about here, you're doing three things at once. You're doing this area here of the horizontal line, this area here of the channel, and of course the head and shoulders itself. In which case, if we did get a sort of little breakdown there, we could look down towards prices such as where the 618 was previously and 240 or so, and we don't want to see the prices drop below 235 over here if we don't have to, but that could happen. Instead, what we want to see is that negated quite easily then by going up to 286, 290, and then we can look towards the $3 targets and stuff like that again, and beat our previous high. Overall here there was a touch of bearish divergence on the stochastics, not so much on the you know, previously on the RSI, but just then recently in the last two highs or whatever on the lower time frames you had that. Whatever, that's enough. That's enough. Sorry, the phone battery going dead distracted me a wee bit, kind of threw me off my game, and maybe I didn't wrap up as well as I could have done. I think that we've taken a good enough look at the markets really today. Highly recommend watching that trade spotting video about the Bitcoin halving, which I'm linking to at the end of this. And join me in the Discord, say hello, join me in the comments, say hello, let me know what you would like me to look at. Do you want me to never look at HitBTC again? Sure, I mean, I've got no problem doing that. If everybody out there is just like, look, that's a scam website, scam exchange, let's not look at it anymore, I don't mind. I am just kind of wondering, you know, whether or not this is going to be like this sort of small thing here on that, and we're going to see a higher low come in at this area. If we need to 230, I'm actually happy enough to see the prices go down to 230 overall, so long as they turn around in the meantime. But if the Bitcoin prices were to drop and the Tezos price stayed the same, then we would could absolutely see the fruition of this cup and handle. And if the dollar prices go up and the Bitcoin prices stay the same or indeed drop, then that would definitely happen. And if the Bitcoin prices go up, the dollar prices stay the same or even have this head and shoulders happen, then the versus Bitcoin thing, this would get negated pretty quick, and you'd be looking down here, and you can very much say that there's no cup and handle formation on the go. If you see the prices come back down at that 2,400, then you know, screw it, don't look for that. 2,800 is my sort of Alamo on that one, or 2,000. Yeah, 2,800 really. 2,600 is even too far, I'd say as well. So in this 2,800 area where the 50 simple is where I'd want to see that turn around. Yeah, I totally lost the plot again on this one because my phone battery died, but I still think I put a good enough episode out there, a bit of substance, a bit of something. And yeah, last thing I suppose, if this does break down, then what would this be? This would be you know, just continuation. We've got, but we have potentially be making a downward trend, you know, potentially, and you could and whatever. And this high being equal to this high, and the RSI being lower than it was over here, is that Class B bullish bearish divergence as well. So you wouldn't want to see that happening. But of course, we needed Class B bearish divergence. Not needed it, but it's handy during a cup and handle to get that cup with handle, to get that the with handle stage before going up again. Right, yeah. I wish I'd charged my phone before recording. I did actually, but then I went and chatted to my mum on the telephone, and you know, a bit of sunshine, which has now gone away. You can see now actually as the sunshine. Oh, you can't see because I've disappeared. yeah, the sunshine's gone away now. And so that was healthy for me. Everybody talking to their mum's healthy as well. That's all good stuff. So, everybody should do that. I hope that you're all really well. Hope all your families are really well. Hi to everybody who's been saying hi recently. Hi Bobby. Hi Amith. Hi Discord group. Hi everyone. Hi Rocky Outcrop, and everybody who's not joined that or subscribed or whatever yet, and come join us. We're a big group of friends. It's really great. It's great positive attitude here in the Tezos thing, and it's wonderful. And I'm going to go edit and upload these videos just now. Thank you for tuning in. Cup of coffee there. You can't see it, but that's what that was. Thanks, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, big friends out there. It's great. What the fuck? I'm just talking to myself. See ya.